Welcome to the Impactful Entrepreneur Show with Adrienne Hill, a place for online business industry expertise and thought leadership, where you can build the skills, structure, and systems you need to thrive in business and have a lasting impact in your industry. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with the lovely Deasha Waddup, and she has worked in marketing for over 9 years. Deasha is credited by Facebook as a lead trainer. She's helped businesses scale to 6 and 7 figures since launching Social Treats in 2016. And Deasha has perfected an organic marketing system that she now teaches through her coaching programs. This is going to be quite a treat because if you would like to leverage Facebook groups in your business and you want to work smarter, not harder, and you want to know all the latest details on what's working right now, then you are in the perfect place. Welcome, Deasha. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us, before we jump into all things Facebook groups and, marketing and prospecting and all those lovely things, can you tell us just a little bit about your entrepreneurial story and how you found yourself kind of carving out and living in this niche of kind of being a Facebook groups expert?
Yeah, so I have a wild and rocky entrepreneurial story, and I think everybody who has been an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. There's that seed right back when you're really young, right? And so mine originally, in 2012, I quit my job and booked a one-way flight to Thailand because I was like, I'm over this. I don't want to work in a job. I need something else. And at the time, I thought that was teaching English. Turns out, not a fan of kids. So whilst I was there in the middle of nowhere in Thailand, I taught myself digital marketing and I taught myself how to build websites. And my background previously is in events management, so super organized, party planner. And I taught myself everything marketing and built myself an audience at the time for a travel and fitness business that never made me any money. But I learned so much. And I went to Australia and then I got employed doing marketing, which blew my mind because I taught myself, right? I had built this following and then people were impressed by it, so employed me. So I started working in the marketing field in various different industries as I traveled Australia, and I got sponsored to stay in Australia. But I was still like, well, this wasn't what I wanted when I left England. Like I still haven't got the freedom that I wanted. So I quit my job in 2016 when I was living in Sydney, and I went to Asia and started my business. And that's when Social Treats was born. And I was like, okay, now I can create the lifestyle that I wanted and really get stuck in and build this business. But I panicked because I turned 30 and I was like, I'm supposed to be adulting right now, have a house, have a job, have a husband, all the things that you're supposed to do. And I was like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just backpacking in Asia, figuring out stuff online. So I panicked and I moved back to England and I got a job in 2017. And it took me until 2018 to realize that was not, I'm not supposed to fit into a box. That's not. So I was like, okay, I'm out. And I started working on my business and how I could double my income. And I managed, before I quit my job in 2018, for the last and final time, I doubled my income of my business to my corporate job. So my side hustle was making more than my full-time business. And I was finally like, okay, now's the time to quit and go all in on this. But I had a house. By then I had the mortgage and I was growing up doing what I thought I should do. But I don't strive very well in a confines and safety, right? I thrive when I am pushed outside of my comfort zone. So I quit my job and I thought, okay, if this all fails and all my clients leave me, I've got the backup of getting a job again. But I don't thrive in comfort. So I packed everything up and me and my dog drove to the south of Spain for 3 months because I was like, I can't get a job here. I don't know to speak the language. So I've got to make my business work. And that's it. There's no other alternative. I rented my house out and I went to live in Spain and I was like, now I've got to make my business work. So in those 3 months, I doubled my revenue again. And I came back in 2019. I was like, okay, this is going to work now. This is going to be fine. So yeah, that's it's a very long story of how I got started, but it's always a roller coaster, I think. So it's important to share.
Oh my gosh, that is the coolest story ever. So I just want to highlight a couple of things about this, because I mean, as entrepreneurs, we're a different breed. Right? We are comfortable with levels of risk and like distance from the comfort zone that the average person just will honestly never be comfortable with. I think I've never felt so alive as I have when I've been taking big risks and jumped completely outside my comfort zone, and where I had no idea where the money was going to come from. Like, you feel alive almost in that place, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you have this too. So a couple of things that jumped out at me when you said you very first got started in like a travel company and made no money. Was this a network marketing company?
No, it was my own business.
Oh, it was your own business.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just decided that I liked fitness and I was going to teach people how to work out online. But
Yeah.
I had no credentials, nothing.
Interesting. Okay. Because I was going to say, like, there's a huge percentage of experts like yourself that I talked to who started in network marketing, learned everything they needed to learn there, and then evolved into something else. So I thought maybe you were yet another one of those. It's just so interesting how many of us there are who kind of fit. So, but you had all these interesting evolutions of like going back into the box, thinking, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then coming out and going, no, I don't belong there. And going back in and going, no, why do I keep going in there? Get out of there. Like, I just think it's an amazing story.
Yeah, I think, and I still get those moments where I'm like, maybe this would just be easier if you get a job, right? And I was talking to one of my mentors who is an 8-figure business owner. And she said to me, she was like, I genuinely thought the other day, I'll just go work in McDonald's. And I thought, well, if you think that, then it's okay. It's okay for me to have those moments occasionally too, right?
We all have those moments where, like, yeah, it would be easier to do something so much easier, of course, but we would never feel as alive.
No, you wouldn't get up as excited every day and be like, yay, today I get to change lives and have a good day.
Change people's lives, live my best life, like have an impact. That's amazing. So what a fun story. What a fun intro. So now you've kind of zeroed in on, like, when you got Facebook certified, like tell us a little bit about that story. And like, you, like, because we were talking behind the scenes before we started recording, you were actually kind of doing some social media management stuff, and that evolved. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So I started off as social media manager, and that's how I managed to quit my job. I brought on social media management clients, and all of my clients were focused around Facebook groups. So I kind of carved myself into that niche. And at the time I was working specifically with wellness entrepreneurs as well. And that came from me wanting to work with people I liked, because when I was working in corporate, I worked in a digital marketing agency as an account manager, which was fantastic. But I was working with clients that was, my major client was an insurance company for motorbikes. No, I don't like motorbikes, no interest in insurance. And I was like, so when I work for myself, I'm going to work with people that I like. I was like, what more friendly people are, like wellness people are just nice people. Yoga instructors are nice people. You never find a nasty one, right? So I was like, okay, this is going to be my niche. Nice people. So I started working with wellness entrepreneurs and building out their Facebook groups and growing their Facebook groups for them. And I got invited by Facebook to an event in Dublin. And I still to this day, no idea why. I think it was because I was managing some really large, highly engaged Facebook groups, and I was the admin on lots of different groups, being the social media manager, of course. So they paid, all expenses paid for me to go to Dublin, 3 days, conference, drinks, food, everything, hotel, and fly me back. And I happened to be in Spain at the time. So they flew me from Spain to Dublin and back again for this conference. And then I started connecting with the right people, and they said, do you want to come and do this? Do you want to come do that? So I started saying yes. My philosophy is say yes to everything and then figure it out. So I was like, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. No worries. So I ended up becoming Facebook certified at the start of 2020 as a lead trainer, which is a program they launched. We were the first 12 people to go through that program in 2020 in the whole of Europe. And they had a couple of other places around the world that had a handful of people. But then, of course, COVID hit and they didn't really know what they were going to do with that program. They have started figuring it out now, but it's taken them years. So we've been delivering this Facebook training. I also became a trainer for She Means Business, which is a campaign nationally across the UK for small, medium business owners run by women across the UK to deliver training for them as well. And so it all kind of just happened to me. And then in 2019, my clients started saying, will you coach us on how to run our business? Because you're doing all the social media stuff, which is amazing, but we don't know what else to do. And we're struggling on all the other back end stuff. So I was like, okay, sure, I can do that. And I really enjoyed it because I'm a people person. And I realized I thrive much better in front of people, talking and chatting to people rather than just behind the scenes doing all the work. So I transitioned my whole business into coaching and helping people rather than just doing the work and being behind the scenes.
Oh, I love that. So for all of the viewers watching, I mean, if Facebook handpicked her out of all the people managing Facebook groups in the whole world, one of like, I think you said 20 people in Europe, correct?
Yeah.
To kind of be part of this pilot program, the girl knows a little something about Facebook groups. So let's dive into it because I'm super excited about this. Your background is fascinating. I just think it's super cool. So tell us a little bit, like, I've seen this shift in Facebook groups where there's still like a group of entrepreneurs and online business builders who are 100% dedicated. Your ideal client lives there. You can interact with them in a private space. Like, it's the place to be. But I also see this shift where, you know, Facebook is trying to get their reels off the ground, and that they seem to be favoring that with their algorithm. And tons of people that I'm talking to everywhere are saying, my Facebook group posts are not getting as much reach. My videos are not getting as much reach. Engagement is down. Like, what's going on with the groups? Can we just kind of start there? Because anyone who's feeling this is going, what the heck is happening? So are they still hot? Is there still potential there? And what's going on with the algorithm?
Yeah. So Facebook's mission statement is literally about communities. So communities are not going anywhere. I mean, they just launched their community management certification. They have a whole Facebook group for community managers worldwide now. And they really are pushing certification programs for community managers on Facebook as well, so that it is more of a certified industry rather than just anybody can do it, which I love, because that I really do think there should be more certifications in the online space so that you know who to go to and who are the cowboys, if you like. So they are really pushing the community aspect of Facebook. But with the algorithms, you have to look at your Facebook group as the center of your ecosystem, and that there are all the moving parts that go around it. So for me, Facebook group is really the center of everything because it is the community aspect. It's where people can connect with each other. It's where people can feel at home. Whereas everything else drives traffic back into the Facebook group. So my email list drives traffic into my Facebook group. My Instagram drives traffic to my Facebook group. My personal profile drives traffic to my Facebook group. Everywhere else just drives traffic back into my Facebook group. So it's constantly being re-engaged and reignited, and it becomes a place where people go to for information all the time. Mm-hmm. But you have to be there actively. Your Facebook group is a mirror of you. And if you're there once or twice a week, then your people are going to show up once or twice a week. Mm-hmm. So you really have to be the person driving your Facebook group. And you use the analogy of a dance floor. When you're in the kids discos and the dance floor is empty, right? Nobody is getting on that dance floor until somebody else does. Well, you have to be that person in the middle of the dance floor, busting out those moves until everybody else feels comfortable enough to join you. Yeah. And they won't until you go first. So if you're still stood on the sidelines being like, oh, well, nobody else is engaging in my group and it's dead and nobody's doing anything, then that's why nobody's doing anything, because the dance floor is empty. Nobody wants to go first. Yeah. But it's your group and you are in charge of taking that lead, busting out those dance floors, making sure those posts are going out there, making sure you're showing up live, being engaging so that other people feel safe to do so too.
Yeah. Yeah, great. And it's so true. And I love that. Now, I know there's a lot of people managing businesses, managing Facebook groups who, we're busy. We don't have time to be in our group organically every single day posting. Like we're running coaching calls and we're, at events like this, and we're doing other stuff, right? So tell us a little bit, and if with the algorithm, does the algorithm care if you're using a post scheduler or posting organically or using the schedule feature inside of, Facebook? Does it matter? Like those things, can you use automation tools?
Yes, absolutely use automation tools. It makes a marginal difference. When we've compared it, it makes a marginal difference. It doesn't really make enough difference to worry about for your sanity. So good. By all means, use scheduling. Within Facebook groups, you have to natively schedule within the Facebook group. And by doing that, you can plan out all of your posts. So as long as you've got posts going out every day and you're engaging in the comments that are coming back in, and you can have your VA or a community manager do that for you. Like, you don't have to be there personally. But somebody should be engaging in those comments and just being a human back to those people, so they don't feel like they're commenting and into the void.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Now, how about with live video? Because I know like they're constantly working on upgrading their, I forget what they call it now, producer. I don't know what they call it, but where you can go live, like organically through Facebook, or, there's tools like StreamYard or Be Live, or I know you can Zoom live stream into a Facebook group. Yeah. Are all of those fair game? Do any of those get like dinged in the algorithm? Because I've noticed a shift where I don't feel like live videos are getting favored as much in groups.
Yeah, so they say that live video gets 238% more engagement than a pre-recorded video. So live videos are still very much the thing to have. It's just that there's so much going on in the newsfeed now. Like 54% of your newsfeed posts are from your friends and family, and 17.8% is from your Facebook groups that you're members of. So it is very much favored, and you can find these stats. Facebook release transparency reports every 3 months, and you can find those stats every 3 months, the top Facebook posts that are performing, the top Facebook pages that are performing, and the split across what is working on your newsfeed. So Facebook is very much favoring the posts from your friends. And the next biggest segment of that is your Facebook group. So it's not a business page, it is your Facebook group. So it is your friends first. And that is why I use my personal profile to make sure that I'm also friends with everybody that joins my Facebook group, or at least request friends. They might not accept them.
Sure.
But I at least request friendship from everybody that joins my group, because then my posts from my personal page are also driving them back into my group as well.
Yeah. So if you are friends with someone in one of your Facebook groups and you make a post in the group, are they more likely to see it because they're in the group and they're your friend?
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. And I also have a direct message strategy that welcomes people into the group. So when people join the group, I look at it like a party. So when you go to a party, somebody welcomes you in. Like, they open the front door, they show you where to get a drink, they show you where the toilets are, the back garden if you want to go outside, and where everything is. That is exactly what the experience you should create in your Facebook group. So when somebody joins my Facebook group, I send them a friend request. I send them a message that says, hey, welcome to this Facebook group. These are the rules. You're allowed to promote. You're not allowed to promote, whatever the rules are. I would love to get to know more about you, to see if I have any resources that I might be able to send you that can support you in your journey right now. Can I ask you a few questions? I also send an email. So an email is automatically sent as well, that also welcomes them into the group and says, you're in, congratulations, I'm so glad you're here. And it says exactly the same as the message, pretty much. So they also get tagged in a welcome post. So when they join the group, they feel so supported that then they're going to dive into all of your content. And that's where sales come instantly, because they've felt supported in all avenues, and they can dive into your content and really get to know, love, and trust you really quickly, and then buy from you straight away, which is...
Oh, no, this is super smart, because you said if in the feed, 17% of what people see are groups, but that's all groups. So you're competing with all the other groups they're in. They might be in dozens or even hundreds of other groups. But if you're the one welcoming them, offering them additional support and resources, emailing them, taking them in the welcome post, like making them feel like they're in that private party. I love that analogy. They're probably more likely to see your group's posts within that 17%. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I love these tips. Now, you said when someone joins your group, it triggers a welcome email. What are you using to like make all these things happen for the email to trigger and then for taking them in the welcome post? Do you have like favorite tools you'd want to share with us?
Yeah. So I make sure that firstly that I'm asking them for their email address on when they join the group. Because you can't just scrape it from Facebook. It's against all the data protection laws.
I wish you could. I wish you could.
I know, right? So they have to actually give you their Facebook group. But then I use a software called Group Track, which takes all that data from them and pops it into my email system. And it also automatically tags them with the information that they've given me in their questions. So I've got that data. So when I come back to them, I said, oh, when you joined the group, you said you were struggling with this, or you needed help with this, or you said you wanted to book a sales call with me because you needed help specifically with your social media strategy. So I've got all of that data stored so that I can just refer back to it when I'm ready to pitch them for something.
Yeah. And I'm familiar with Group Track. I've heard of that. It's definitely a really nice tool. Yeah,
fantastic.
For sure. And that's the same tool that you use to tag them in the welcome post as well.
Yeah. And it automatically sends direct messages for me. So I can automate some of the process. So I can just go make a coffee and come back to people responding to me.
Yeah. So fun fact, and you're going to love this. One of the other speakers in our event is the CEO and founder of Group Track.
Jenna.
Yes. Yes. So she'll be in our lineup and you guys will all have to connect on the side afterwards because I'm in love with Group Track too. So it's so cool that that's also what you use. So I love that. So for those of you watching who are, maybe you're not realizing like, wait, you can do all this stuff oh yes. So do you have other top strategies that you recommend to help like make the most of a group and grow it fastest, and of course convert people into actual paying customers or clients? Any other top strategies you'd want to share with us?
Yeah. So one of the first things when you're looking at growing the group, you need to make sure that you're getting out there in front of other people's audiences. So doing things like this, doing things in other people's groups, and then talking that you can do in other people's groups, on podcasts, on summits, and then also being engaging in other people's groups. The quickest way to grow your group on Facebook is to be active on Facebook. Like you can go onto other platforms but then you get the objection like, oh, I'm not on Facebook. So being active on Facebook is the quickest way to grow your group on Facebook. So being in those other groups, stay away from the groups that you have free promotion in, because they are promo fests, right? You've all seen the groups that have just turned into spam and you're like, this is not value anymore. I'm over it. Well, I teach a strategy of 5 different posts that you can share in other people's Facebook groups that you can't promote in, that is just about you sharing value and showing up as a unique human and being awesome. And one of the posts that I share, that I've shared regularly in other people's groups that's generated me thousands of pounds of income now, is a post about me doing a selfies challenge. And I literally did this challenge a few years ago pre-COVID, where I went out and took selfies with strangers every day for 30 days. And it was just about me getting outside of my comfort zone and doing something different. And every single day, even when you were dying and you didn't want to go anywhere and you're like, oh, I have to leave the house and go find somebody to take a picture with. It's like, let's just do it because I've committed to this challenge. So every single day I had to go out and have a conversation with a complete stranger to be able to have enough of a conversation to be like, hey, can I take a selfie with you? You can't just walk up to a complete stranger and just start the conversation with, can I take a selfie? They might think you're weird. And I got a lot of no's, but that was part of putting myself out of the comfort zone. And so this post literally talks about the Selfies with Strangers challenge. And it has a collage of the pictures that I took at the time. And that post has generated me thousands, not promoting anything, just being my weird, unique self. And people are like, oh my God, I loved your post. You're so weird that it connected me with you and I want to buy your stuff. I'm like, cool. Okay.
How did they even know that you had stuff to sell?
Because humans are nosy. And they go and check out my Facebook profile because I post in a group from my profile. So they then go and be nosy at my personal page on Facebook. They see my group, they go join my group, and they see all of my content and experience, my concierge experience in there, and get the big warm hug. And they're like, oh, this chick knows what she's talking about too. And she's cool. I'll sign up.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that people are like, you're weird. I love that. Let's hang out. Like, I'm gonna go peek at what you're doing. And I mean, it's so true. Like, so many of us shy away from the things that make us weird. But honestly, that's what's gonna make people fall in love with you. I mean, because that's what makes you is your weirdness. Like, embrace the weirdness, you guys.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh,
and
I love this.
When it comes to nurturing those people in your group, making sure that you're providing value is one of the biggest things. And actually selling your offers. The amount of times that clients come to me and they say, nobody's buying anything from inside my Facebook group. And I say, when was the last time you posted about your offer? And they were like, oh, I did it like a month or so ago. I'm like, right, well, you need to be doing it at least like 3 times a week, at least, because people move so fast in the social media world. Nobody's seeing all of your content. So you constantly need to be pitching your offer. And that's usually people's biggest problem when they come to me with a Facebook group that's not selling, is that they don't have a clear offer that they're promoting all the time in their group. So people don't know they've even got something to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. I tell people all the time, like, just when you feel like you've promoted something so much that it feels disgusting, it's barely enough.
Yeah.
It's barely, because like people don't see, when you make a post, you feel like, okay, everyone saw this, everyone knows. Everyone didn't see it and nobody knows. Like, they just don't.
Yeah. And it's so true that they say that on average on your business page on Facebook, 4% of your followers will see any of your posts. So if you take that if you work on the same equation across everything on Facebook, then you really have some work to do to make sure that you are posting all the time so that everybody is seeing your stuff.
Yeah. I mean, 4%. So is that the organic reach now? 4%?
Yeah. On your business page.
Yeah. Well, and especially business pages, because that's basically pay to play. Like, no one's going to see your stuff unless you're really paying for them to see your stuff. I mean, let's be honest, right?
I use a lot of recurring posts on my business page because I always think business pages are there for SEO. They're there if somebody Googles your business and they want to see if you're still alive. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we've all done it, right? You look, think about going to a restaurant. You think, let me see if the restaurant is still open.
Yeah.
Especially at the moment with COVID and so many things have closed permanently. Like, oh, there's a really cool restaurant in that place. Let me go on Facebook and see if they're still around or they've closed down. They haven't posted in 6 months. You're like, oh, they must be dead. Like, this is closed.
I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, is this person still doing it? You know, and I go and look at their business page. If there's recent activity, I'm like, okay, they're active, they're in business. Like, we're rocking and rolling here, right? But if it's really just this, like, proving that you're open for business is really all of it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to have any amazing content that's going to rock the world. It just needs to be content.
Like, hey, we're open. Yep, we're still alive. We're still here.
Yeah.
and then it gives you the ability to place ads, of course, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I have to visit my group.
Right, a great way to fill your group. But for the most part, I mean, bang for your buck, a Facebook group, especially if you're connecting as friends with as many people in it as possible, is going to give you more return far and above over what your business page will.
Absolutely. Yeah. The business page, I mean, realistically, unless you're running ads, you don't really need a business page.
Yeah.
Unless you have ads in your strategy. I would focus primarily on your personal page and on your Facebook group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you want to build organically, without paid ads, that's where it's at. Yeah. Awesome. Any other hot tips for us that are like common mistakes that you see people making in their Facebook group that, like, we could save the audience from now, you know, especially if it's anything new? I mean, social media is constantly shifting and changing. Algorithms are changing. Facebook might be prioritizing some things over others. Like, any recent changes that to help people avoid common pitfalls that you'd want to let us know about?
I think in the future of Facebook groups, I think Reels will be coming into Facebook groups. So they are very hot right now, and I see that happening in the future. So if you don't have a Reel strategy yet, then get one because I see that being very hot in the future. So make sure that you have some sort of strategy for video content and that you're repurposing a lot of that stuff. I worked with a client, one of my one-on-one clients just yesterday, and we talked about repurposing all of his podcast interviews into reel snippets. So that, because they were doing some editing anyway. And I was like, whilst you're there, turn them into reels, because when that strategy rolls out in groups, you've already got that stuff already there if you're already editing those things.
Absolutely.
So as that's happening, if you're editing videos, then have that in the back of your mind to think, well, I may as well do it now rather than wait and then have to go back and do it. So that's one of the things that I think is coming hugely. We're also seeing a lot of changes come out of Facebook in regards to admin rights and some automations that you can start to do inside of your Facebook group to help you regulate your group more as well. So there are some things that you'll be able to do, like block certain posts that have certain words, or flag posts that have certain words. So if people are looking for help inside your Facebook groups, and this particularly if you've got like a paid membership group and you ask people to use specific tags, then Facebook can notify you if they use those specific tags. So to help you monitor those groups a lot easier. And the same with if you've got a public group and you don't want people swearing in your group, for example, you can add those words to a blocked list so they won't even get posted at all. So rather than using the features of approving all the posts, which I think is a pain, and you need an admin to do it, and I just trust my members not to break the rules. And if they do, then I kick them out afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't like that approving post thing, because it's just another thing to add to your long list of never-ending tasks as business owners, right? So I just trust they will, but that Facebook are bringing out these admin features that are really going to help us manage the groups a lot easier going forward. There has been things that they put on and then they take off really quickly. They're trying a lot of things at the moment. One of those was they launched an @everyone tag where you could tag everybody in your group, and it worked for like 3 days and then they pulled it back.
I love that idea.
Yeah, so did everybody, but the people inside the group not so much, when they kept getting tagged with hundreds and hundreds of posts all the time. So they pulled that back pretty quickly. They also had a section where you could view the answers to people's questions when they joined your group, which was a cool feature because that's something that you've never been able to do before. Go back and look at the answers inside of Facebook. But again, they pulled that pretty swiftly as well. So like they're testing and learning things and then changing their minds.
But they're constantly testing, right? Which, I mean, makes sense. Like as business owners, we're always constantly testing something too. So I get it.
Yeah. And you can see that all the time. Like on Instagram, for example, they rolled out Reels so fast in 2020 because TikTok was doing so well that they put a lot of other features like IGTV on the back burner that then failed, and they've now pulled IGTV because of it, because they didn't roll out their full plan that they had thought of, and they changed directions and went in a different direction.
Because IGTV was basically meant to compete with YouTube, right?
Yes. Yeah. But then Reels took off, or TikTok took off, and they were like, oh, we should do that instead.
Yeah.
So they canned their promotion on IGTV and went with Reels. And they didn't even make a fuss when IGTV just disappeared slowly in the background over the last year.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, one thing I've noticed, I pulled up my phone because and I've seen this changing with Facebook, so I'm curious. There's that little menu across the bottom: home, watch, news, marketplace, etc. For a while, they had a separate little groups section. Yeah. It was like a separate groups feed. And now, at least on my phone, that appears to be gone. I know that they're constantly testing and rolling out things for different users at different times. So someone else might still look at their phone and still see the little groups down there. For me, it's gone. Was that them testing, like whether to have the groups feed totally separate or whether to give it a certain percentage of the main feed? Like what?
Yeah, I think that was trying to drive people back into groups more and giving people a space to actively just engage in their group feed content. The problem being that people are in so many groups, and that's one of the reasons they stopped with the invite button that just added people into the group a few years ago, because I know now that I am in hundreds of groups that I didn't want to be in. And I don't have the bandwidth to go back and not be in them and unsubscribe from them. But they stopped that. So now they've got the 30-day rule where you can see the content for 30 days and you get to choose if you want to join. And if you don't join in that time, you'll be removed anyways. But I think they were trying to drive more traffic to that group feed to get more people engaged in groups again, because it is their mission statement. Communities are the biggest thing that they want to push. So I think they were trying that, but they might come back. Who knows?
Yeah. So groups are still their main focus. It's going to remain their main focus. I mean, it is one of the things that makes them really unique.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the only place where you can create like a private living room or a private party for one specific audience, right? So still big, it's still hot. They may play with exactly how and where you find the groups and the percentages of who's seeing what, but they're here to stay.
Yeah, they're 100% here to stay. They're not going anywhere.
Interesting. Now you had mentioned, one last question I have, and then I know we probably need to wrap it up. You had mentioned that they were going to be looking more at like people getting certifications to be group managers. Do you see that being a requirement in the future, or more of just like a bonus, like you're verified as a group leader or something?
I think more of a bonus. So there is a lot of jobs that will be requiring certification. So if you're looking in the market to be a community manager for an employer, then that could be an avenue for you, because I see that on a lot of job boards now, that they're looking for certifications in that process, because people aren't, I mean, if you did a digital marketing degree, it's dead by the time you finish it, right? Because it's no longer in date. Whereas the certifications, you have to resit them every 12 to 18 months, and they're constantly updating them. So I am certified in a few different exams, and every 18 months I have to resit all of the stuff, and they add new things in there all the time. If you want to check them out, Blueprint Training, Facebook Blueprint Training, you can just Google it. You can study all of the things for free. All of the resources are completely free on Facebook Blueprint, and you if you want to take the exams, you pay a couple of $100 to do the exam. It's they can be very strict. I've done one exam where they made like me show my whole workspace so I wasn't cheating, and like I turn around to look at my dog, and they popped up and said, "What are you doing?" So it is quite a strict exam process.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the training is free. If you want to actually get certified, there is a cost for that. But I mean, so it sounds like if people are wanting to learn more, I mean, these Facebook blueprints are out there and they're free. Yeah,
absolutely. And they're constantly updating them as well. I was just resetting one of my exams recently, and they've updated it with all the Reels content and how to do Reels, because the last time I did it was 18 months ago when they didn't have Reels in it.
Yeah.
So they're constantly updating it with all the new stuff that's happening. So they're well worth diving into and looking into.
That is fascinating. Well, you have just been a wealth of knowledge, so super helpful. And I know that you have a special gift for our audience. If they want to dig deeper, if they want to learn more about Facebook groups, you have something for them. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so if you want to access my 11 steps to growing your Facebook group, it is a download, and there is also a course that you can purchase on the back of the download as well. And it takes you through some of the steps we talked about today around growing your Facebook group and making sure that you're getting the most amazing clients in your group and filling it with purposeful people rather than just having a large Facebook group full of spammers. So 11 steps to growing your Facebook group, and it's a completely free download, or you can go and get the course and upgrade and get taken step by step through optimizing your personal profile and making sure that everything on your ecosystem is driving people to your Facebook group.
Oh, I love that. So helpful. This has just been such a wonderful training. We're so appreciative of your time. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Impactful Entrepreneur Show. If you found amazing value here, like, subscribe, and leave us a review to help other people find the high value content that we share, and find us on social media so we can continue the conversation. See you in the next episode.